Welcome to Mystery Date, where we dive into the weird, the wild, and the downright puzzling. While our podcast is primarily for entertainment with plenty of laughs along the way, we occasionally discuss serious and sensitive topics. Some content may not be suitable for all listeners, so discretion is advised. I'm Christian.
I'm Kate.
Welcome to Mystery Date Movie
Night.
This time we're leaving the mysteries to the filmmakers and we're turning our date night into, well, a simple movie night.
Yeah, we figured while we're between seasons, this is a good time for us to relax a little and switch things up a bit until we bring back the real mysteries in season 2.
Tonight we're talking about the 2016 supernatural horror film, The Conjuring 2.
We'll be breaking down the movie's plot a little bit, giving some of our own personal commentary, and then giving the film an overall rating.
So sit back, relax.
Grab your favorite movie snack, and let's start the show.
All right. So do you watch Conjuring 2 before this? You had. I think we have.
We,
honestly, 'cause
yeah,
we've gone through the
we
series.
went through the whole series, but only this year.
That's true. Honestly, yeah, we did. It was very recent.
It was like this summer.
It was because of this podcast technically, because we had the season 2 theme in mind. So I guess I did kind of push it on us. But then, well, it was a perfect time to capitalize on some more content. So I figured let's turn this into another little episode.
Yeah, especially with spooky season being just behind us now. It's always fun to go through these movies again during that time.
Oh, yeah. November's a little spooky.
Yeah.
Yeah. You still got the leaves.
Some Halloween lingering.
Exactly. It's got those vibes. You wake up.
Nightmare before Christmas, if you will.
Yes, it's a good, yeah. And November is the nightmare before Christmas. That's perfect. I'm coming down with a little something. I don't think you'll really hear it in my voice, but just in case you're wondering, like, why does he sound like he smoked a pack of cigarettes?
Just
that might be the reason.
Your basic Ohio congestion.
Yeah.
I also have little pimple patches all over my face in case you're watching this in video format. That's what those little circle dimple looking things are. And once again, that's just dealing with weather changes in Ohio. I break out a lot when it gets cold.
Yeah, just normal real life problems. So getting into the movie, Conjuring 2 was directed by James Wan, the same director as the first one. It was written by James Wan, Chad and Carly Hayes, same ones as The Conjuring, and David Leslie I knew I was going to fuck this name up. It's a long one. David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick. What a name. I'm keeping all that in my struggle for that because
David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick.
Yes, what a name.
Yeah, that's a long one.
Cinematography was by Don Burgess, and the cast was Patrick Wilson, of course, Vera Farmiga, Madison Wolfe, Francis O'Connor, Simon McBurney, Franca Potente, and Bonnie Aarons. Again, every time we do this, I just want to shout out to the cast and crew because it's impossible to get anything made, let alone in Hollywood. So they deserve a shout out outside of the movie itself.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, hey, without their hard work making the movie, we wouldn't be able to sit here and talk about it.
Exactly. So we kind of owe it to them.
Exactly. Whether we like them film or not, we owe it to their hard work that we are here right now.
Yep. That's very true. I like that. I like putting it like that. So getting into the movie's plot, we have the cold open, which I thought was pretty cool. It's the Amityville Seance. It's when I get into this review a little bit more, I'll talk about how I think this movie was similar to the first one in a lot of ways. But this is actually a pretty cool intro. First one, you had the Annabelle kind of teaser. So similar in that aspect.
Yeah, I like how in both the first and second Conjuring films, they open with these almost unrelated cases that the Warrens have dealt with before they go into the actual movie's plot and that case that is about to unravel. But I think it's interesting, and it also helps them set up that character development and backstory and world building for the Warrens.
So the film opens with Ed and Lorraine Warren investigating the Amityville horror case. Lorraine attempts a seance and experiences a terrifying vision. She sees herself holding a shotgun, then witnessing the murders through the killer's eyes, which that was a pretty cool sequence.
Yeah, that was interesting. I liked that we got to see a little bit more of her clairvoyancy and how it works in the second one. We saw it a little in the first one, but I feel like in this second one, we really see her taking on the roles of these, like the killer or the ghost or whoever she's trying to connect with a little bit more.
No, I was going to say, I definitely think in this one, there's a bigger highlight on her actual like mystical abilities, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. You can take that for
Yeah.
yourself. But I
It's
thought it was pretty,
fun.
yeah, I thought it was pretty fun.
Also, side note, I can't wait to talk more about and look into just in the future, not in this episode, Amityville. Not even so much the haunting story, but the actual true crime part that happened first.
Oh, it's fascinating.
Like, you don't hear people talk about it as much. You hear people talk about the haunting of Amityville and all of these movies about the haunting of Amityville. Nobody talks about this, like, almost mass murdering event that happened.
We will be looking at that for season 2, so keep an eye out because that's going to be a big case that we cover.
Oh, yeah.
So you'll get to learn all about it during that.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah, that's
Love
the
me
fun
some true crime and murderers.
that's the fun part about the show is you get to learn some new stuff. So, like I said, Lorraine's going around with the shotgun, experiencing the murder through DeFeo's eyes, and she then encounters a demonic figure known as the Nun at this point.
Right. And again, they're already setting themselves up for those sequels.
Yes.
Between this one and the first one, the Nun has been seen. They talk about Maurice from the Nun movies. They talk about Annabelle to set those up. Like,
Uh-huh.
they really were prepared for a whole universe right from the gate.
Stay tuned because I have a fun fact that might surprise you at the end about the Nun. But Lorraine encounters the Nun figure and she sees a version of Ed, and he's basically, she sees this repeatedly throughout the movie, but it's his death. It seems to be like he's inspired by something in this first scene that she sees, but it leaves her shaken and emotionally withdrawn as she kind of suddenly wakes up from the seance after they open the blinds and let the light in, and they're all calling for her. It's a big deal. This movie follows, I wrote down that it has similar themes with the first one as well, where I feel like the entire first movie you had Ed worried about Lorraine, and this movie kind of flips.
You have
Where, like,
Lorraine worried about Ed the whole
yes,
time.
yes. And in the first scene, it's definitely still Ed freaking out about Lorraine, but it definitely, you see that hard contrast with this movie.
Yeah. He's always worried about her using her powers too much and it taking a toll on her. But yeah, now it's to the point where she's literally worried for his life, not
Oh, yeah.
just the effect their jobs have on them.
Yes. Because again, she sees this like,
Yeah, she sees his premonition and is very, very convinced that it is going to come true if they keep at this line of work.
yeah. And Ed kind of thinks the same thing, like you said. Oh, if you keep using your powers in this line of work, something bad's going to happen. So it's pretty cool that they have that dynamic and that expands over the two movies. So from there, we go to London, baby.
London.
Yeah. In Enfield, London specifically, where we meet single mother Peggy Hodgson and her 4 children, Margaret, Janet, Billy, and Johnny. Strange disturbances begin within the Hodgsons household, such as Janet begins to sleepwalk, furniture moves on its own, knocking echoes throughout the house, and a creepy old man's voice begins speaking through Janet.
All very similar to Conjuring 1. I mean, you have the kids sleepwalking in both. You have the kids being like the first point of contact with the haunting in both. You have the 2 sisters who share a room and experience like a demon in the shadows in the corner talking to one of them in both.
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of interesting that it's like, is every haunting the same?
Well,
But I will say, like, kids, I thought about this while watching this movie. Kids in general are just a great element in the horror genre. I don't know why these innocent little children are so spooky. Or you just always know it's like, oh, they're going to get up to no good. They're going to invite a demon in with their little Ouija boards. This kid is already demonic. Like, there's always something about a kid in a horror movie that it's like, you're off-putting.
Yeah, we kind of talked about this earlier, but I think that's really because when you see a child, you almost put yourself in that mindset, like that innocent mindset where it's like, oh man, what if I was a kid having to deal with this? What would I do as a child? And you start to play on that innate fear within you of, I don't know, I just think it's an easy way to attack humans personally and like right in the soul where it's like, we were all kids once. You know what this feels like.
Yeah, that's true.
So after a while, the entity inside the house eventually reveals itself as Bill Wilkins, a former resident who claims the house as his. And moving on from there, the haunting intensifies, where the activity escalates pretty publicly, and Janet is thrown into rooms, the kids witness her levitating, furniture is overturned violently, And the neighbors and local police begin to witness some of these paranormal events, which draws a lot of media attention later on. And I thought it was pretty cool, the little police scene that they have there.
Yeah. I do love that the cops come to investigate and they don't immediately write the family off. Like they're legitimately looking. They're like, maybe there is somebody here. Now, it could be harmless. It could have just been some sort of prank, but we are looking around. We are going to see, is there sign of entry? Is there somebody hiding here? Do we have wires attached to any of this furniture? Like, who's behind this? So, like, they are taking it seriously. But I love that the police literally witnessed this haunting stuff happening, like chairs flying across the room and nobody's touching it and there's no wires and everything. And they're like, nothing we can do about that. Here's a number for a priest. Bye. And it sounds like I'm being funny, but that's almost verbatim how it actually went in the movie. Is these police come outside like, well, nothing we can do about that.
It is funny the way they present it, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, what the
That's
hell's the police
realistic
gonna
though.
do?
Yeah. I mean, if I was a cop, that's probably how I'd react.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? I
Well,
mean, especially because they see the chair being thrown, and like they,
yeah,
you like you said, they did all the investigating to see that there were no strings, there was nothing there that could have really been a hoax.
exactly. They're like, well, there's no intruder and there's no signs of entry. Like, we did our job. We can file the report for you, but that's about all.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, again, if I was a cop, dude, I would have probably not even done that. I'd have been like, I'm gonna pretend I did
Yeah.
not see this.
I also had to have to mention that while the cops were there investigating, they hear something going on in the walls. They're like, is it coming from in the walls? And the one cop goes, huh, must be a mouse. And the mom is like, big bloody mouse. Like, are
Yeah,
you
it's like a
kidding me?
pounding.
It sounds like a bear is trying to knock down the wall. She's like, a mouse.
Yeah, it must be a mouse. It's just a little thing.
Yeah,
It's
it
okay.
cracks me up. Huh, must be a mouse.
What kind of fucking mice do they have in England?
Big bloody mouse.
Yeah.
She's like, you fucking kidding me, bro?
It's at this point that a British paranormal researcher, Maurice Grosse, begins documenting the case. And from there, Ed and Lorraine Warren are eventually asked to come and investigate like the little superheroes that they are.
Of course.
The church requests that the Warrens travel to London not to perform an exorcism, but to assess whether the haunting is genuine. Lorraine is reluctant because of her visions of Ed's death, but ultimately she agrees, and both Ed and her decide, well, we're going to take a vacay.
London, baby.
So Ed and Lorraine Warren eventually meet the Hodgkins and arrive in England and immediately begin investigating. Ed bonds with the kids, helping fix household items and supporting the mother emotionally. The Warrens witness minor phenomena but need stronger evidence to confirm authenticity. So that leads into Janet's possession, which deepens a little further, and Janet becomes the focus of the activity around the house, where her voice eventually changes into Bill's through some cool little seance-y type trick from Ed. And
he yells, my house. This is my house.
yeah, he yells it a lot in this movie.
My house.
Objects begin to fly across the room, and she is manipulated physically at this point. And there are moments in this movie where I'm like, this little girl would be broken.
Oh, yeah.
Even after the haunting. Like, I don't understand.
No, at one point during this film, I don't remember where. I think it was towards the end one of the times they find her, but I wrote down like she is so contorted up in there when they find her. A, how do they even get her out? And B, how are all of her bones and limbs intact? There's no way that a demon contorted her and like bent her and broke her up that much and then like shoved her behind a bunch of pipes and stuff. And like she has barely a scratch on her, let alone everything just bends back to normal as soon as they pull her out of there and she's fine.
Yeah.
It's the most unbelievable part for me. I can get past the demon possession, but her bones aren't broken after that. Please.
No, that does seem to happen a lot in this, where it's like, okay.
Whoever's being possessed suddenly doesn't have a spinal cord until the demon leaves.
It doesn't really matter, at least.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Or when the demon leaves, they automatically just heal the person. I don't really know.
The demon makes their body invincible for the time being.
Eventually, Bill Wilkins, the ghost inside the house, claims that he just wants to be left alone. But Lorraine senses something darker manipulating him, and this whole time there's kind of this conflict vaguely in the background of, is this a hoax? Because when they first got here, the church was like, just like, again, you need to assess to make sure if this is real or if this is fake. So that does linger the entire time in the background of this movie.
Yeah, and then the connection they make to that opening scene is that a lot of people with the media frenzy around this haunting have been calling it the Amityville of England.
Yes.
And Amityville was essentially proven, to be a hoax. So then when that was what people were calling this, of course, the Warrens are like, we really need concrete proof, and proof that it's not a hoax, as well as proof that it's real would be
Yeah.
nice, because otherwise the church won't touch it with a 10-foot pole and we're never going to get help from them. So, I mean, that is also kind of like an interesting thing that I like about these movies in general, is that it shows even for the people who believe in this stuff really seriously and take it really seriously, it's not easy to, like, you can't just perform an exorcism. Like, you need to go through the Vatican and all these channels of approval and, like, go to specific places and have specific proof. Like, it is interesting that that's a thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult, especially like you said, most people would think, oh, you can just perform an exorcism, pull out a Bible, get some
Yeah, get
holy
some holy
water,
water, maybe a priest, like, anybody could
maybe
do
a
it.
priest.
So, like, no, it's not just any believer can do it, apparently.
So later on in the movie, the Warrens and researchers struggle to gather really any concrete proof here. And Janet is caught on camera, apparently faking some of the activity when she's seen throwing pots and pans and dishes and knives around a kitchen. Peggy insists that the family is desperate and not deceptive to the Warrens, but Lorraine grows conflicted and the situation feels real, but she says that the evidence is just contradictory. She can't feel anything actually inside the house despite what they're seeing.
And one of the other ladies who's there sometimes helping and observing, I guess I would say observing more than helping, because I think she's mostly trying to prove it is a hoax. I'm not sure what her title or her character name even is, but she is like a religious psychoanalysis type person, I think they said. And at one point, she says to Lorraine, like, I don't know what's worse, the demons or these hoaxsters out here who use people like us. And Lorraine looks at her deadpanned and is like, the demons. The, the demons are worse.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, if they're real, you gotta weigh your punches there, I
Yeah,
guess.
but that's happening in the midst of, like, even when Lorraine is at her highest moment of doubt against the family and thinking that it very well might be a hoax and they might have just gotten taken advantage of by these people. That's still her response to the lady. She's like, the fuck? She's like, Yeah, okay, yeah, hoaxers might suck and be annoying, but, like, you're really comparing them to actual demons right now?" Like, she was bringing Ed level sass with that comeback.
Joel, people died. Moving on from there, Lorraine begins to have some visions again as she continues to be tormented by this nun demon. She researches and sketches the entity, naming it Valak after a premonition. Lorraine realizes the demon is using Bill Wilkins to kind of hide its true presence within the house, and that's why she was having such a hard time being able to see whatever was happening there. And this all kind of is a big culmination in the movie where the Warrens kind of admit to Peggy, like, hey, we don't believe this. At least with the evidence that we have, we're here on the church's behalf. Ed says at one point, and they'd be calling us home regardless. So we have to go.
Yeah.
From there, while reviewing audio tapes, Ed notices something that when certain recordings overlap, Bill is actually warning them. He cannot control the haunting, and they realize Valak is the true demon. Bill's spirit is trapped and being used as bait. From there, we lead into the climax of the movie where Ed returns to the house and he discovers Janet has become essentially fully possessed by the demon there. A storm begins to rip apart the house as Janet is drawn towards an upstairs window. Ed rushes into the collapsing residence to save her alone. And this is like Lorraine's biggest fear throughout the entire movie. Her like vision that she's been having seems to be coming true more and more as lightning strikes the house. This pillar that she's seen stabbing Ed throughout the movie materializes.
Yeah, this whole climax scene is just another montage of everybody screaming like, Ed, Lorraine, Janet, Peggy, Ed, Janet. And then I'm over here like, donkey.
That was good. That was good. It is essentially just a screaming match
just
between everybody,
thunder,
including the demon.
rain, people running around, being locked out of random entrances and screaming for each other for like 5 straight minutes. And then damn Ed got blinded again.
Yeah. Yes, he does, by like pocket sand.
Oh wait, no, this is the first time he gets blinded.
Oh yeah,
The third one.
that's in the third movie. We've
in the
been
third
watching
one.
all of them.
Yeah.
Ed gets blinded
But
a
Ed
lot.
gets blinded by like steam.
He gets blinded
He
by
gets
steam in
blinded
this
by like
one.
a steam pipe, and it's like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah, you could see it all on his face. It's hard for him to
so
see.
bad. Yeah. And then he's going through the house like almost blind, feeling his way through the dark, and you see creepy little hands on the wall next to him and stuff. Ooh, it's yikes.
Yeah, it's a good build. Ed eventually rushes into the room and Lorraine is locked outside, but she breaks in, confronts Valak. That's a whole scene on its own. Lorraine recalls the demon inside the room with Janet and Ed eventually when Ed tries to save Janet, because it gets a little confusing. The powers of some of these demons in this movie are a little bit weird. We also didn't even mention the Crooked Man in the breakdown
Oh,
because,
yeah.
but to be honest, he has nothing to do with the plot.
He has nothing to do with the plot. He was just an element of fear used against the family, I think.
Which I think it's funny that at the end he ends up taking the little carousel from it, because it's like that thing really didn't even
That
have
thing
anything
really
to...
wasn't the haunted device. If anything, it was the armchair.
Yeah,
But-
you know what? For
Why
real.
didn't you take the old man's armchair, Ed? Add that to your collection instead of the creepy ass. Why is it always a creepy ass music box? That's the same as the first one too. They had a creepy little Jack in the Box music thing in that, and in this one they have the fucking Crooked Man. Like, he's worse than the Boogeyman, dude. He's so creepy.
It's so creepy. Honestly, and he's like the creepiest thing in the whole movie.
He's the creepiest thing in this whole series, I think. He deserves his own spin-off feature film.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how they let that just be a complete side piece of this.
Like, yeah, that damn Crooked Man, he is so spooky.
But yeah, Janet almost ends up jumping out the window because Valak's controlling her, and Ed goes to save her, but they both fly out the window, and Ed's hanging on by the curtain rod, or the curtain themselves, as they're snapping from the rod. And Valak and Lorraine get in a screaming match.
A little stare off across the room.
Yeah, as Valak's like, oh, I'm gonna kill your boy slowly but surely. Again, if he's a demon, just fucking make it
just
happen.
do it. Why are you wasting time playing with people?
Like,
He's
I
sitting there
don't get it.
smirking like, ha ha ha, one step closer. You see the curtain snapping slowly. Ooh, look, Lorraine, I'm going to make you watch. It's almost time. And it's like, dude, just kill the people. Like,
Yeah.
if that's your end goal, why are you taking so long with this? Even with The Haunting, it takes like weeks, if not months, for it to get to the level where he's actually going to make Janet jump out the window and kill herself.
It takes
like...
so long, and poor Bill is just this ghost that's like, look, man, his whole mo is he just wanted to see his family again after he died of like a brain hemorrhage in the corner of the room.
Yeah. He's like, I just wanted to see my family, and I guess I materialized as a ghost, and then Valak took my soul from that, and that was that. Like,
But after their screaming match, Lorraine eventually says Valak's name and condemns him to hell, breaking his power. The demon is banished and the house calms, and Janet is saved just as she nearly plunges to her death. Same as Ed. Neither of them, unfortunately, meet their spiky doom.
unfortunately,
Yeah. I mean, it would have made a better ending if somebody died.
I mean, yeah, that's true. No one ever dies like in these haunting films.
No, they get hurt.
Yeah, the newest Conjuring is the only one that actually has a death, and even then, it's like a random guy. It's
Yeah,
not
it's
one
no
of
one
the
in-
people in the family. But I will say, at that part where they all get saved, it's towards the end of the movie. It's the most cliche, corny written line that I think I've heard in any horror film, and that's saying something because a lot of horror films are really cheesy. But it's the line where Lorraine looks at Ed and she's like, "You saved her," talking about Janet. And Ed looks back at Lorraine and goes, "No, you saved us." And it's just, they're so dead serious, and like the music is all emotional, and I'm just like, that was so bad. Like,
some of the writing. The first one I think is a lot. We'll get into it in a little bit, but the first one is I think it has a lot stronger writing than this one.
Yeah. Also, can we talk about how the house that the Hodgsons live in, this where all this shit is happening, this huge haunting with multiple ghosts and a demon, it's a duplex. Do we never hear about the neighbors who share a wall with them. Anytime neighbors are involved, it's like the people across the street.
I'm not too sure, but we'll cover this haunting in our season 2. But I think the real neighbors were like, yeah, we didn't hear anything.
We never heard anything. Like, one night we heard her throwing dishes around, and that was the time they said that it was a hoax.
Yeah, I think in like real life, they were like, yeah, we didn't.
Like, yeah, we never heard anything except these people yelling at each other.
So that might have just been it.
Yeah, I was just laughing so hard. Like, as it's zooming out at the end, I'm like, wait a second. I mean, I guess I had to have seen this before in the movie, but I didn't take it into account that, like, this is all happening in a duplex. Like, wh- how have the landlords not just kicked him out? Is it an ownership type of thing? Is it like a condo?
I do
Like,
think it's like some sort of.
like more like a townhome
No, I think it's
situation?
like assigned housing because at one point they mentioned that she's trying to like go to the council to get better housing, and that's why it might be a hoax,
Oh,
and that's why it
it's
looks
like
like such
some sort
shit.
of
Like this
Section 8
house
type of thing.
is horrible.
It is, like, and they literally all the furniture they own came with the house, and that's why they have this old dead man's rocking chair, and it's literally still in the corner that he died in it.
Yeah,
Like, and it's like, well, that's what we've got.
I do think
So
she says like her husband bought it like with the furniture or whatever, but whatever they bought it from, I think was like a government assisted because this house
yeah.
at one point in this movie it has like 2 feet of water in the basement,
Oh my
just
gosh, yeah, it's so
casually.
funny when Ed is, like, helping them fix some stuff up and, like, bonding with the family. At one point, he's like, "Oh, let me take a look at that washing machine or that pipe or something for you." And the mom's like, "Oh, no, like, I couldn't ask you to do that. That's too much work." He's like, "How bad could it be? Come on." And then they go downstairs and it's like literally a fucking swamp dungeon.
Yeah,
That's what I wrote down.
there is legitimately like 2 feet of water. It's ridiculous.
Maybe more. I think it was more. It came up to, like, their waists.
And there's just a pipe that apparently has just been. Yeah, there's just a pipe down there that is just leaking ever water. And what's
Apparently
their
it's
water bill?
Apparently, it's just always pouring water down there, and she's like, "Yeah, I don't have a wrench, so what are you gonna do?" All Ed does when he goes down there is he, like, wrenches it tight, and he's like, "Ah, all right, that should do it." It's one of those one of those funny moments that's like, this probably wasn't supposed to be funny, but it's just so silly. Like,
And maybe I missed it, but now that I'm thinking about it too, like, why doesn't Peggy fix any of this stuff? Does she have a job? Do
I
we see
think
her go
so.
to work?
I mean, at one point, she is gone all day while Janet stays home sick, and the other kids are, like, off at
That's
school.
true. No, okay, that's true. I was just trying to think. I'm like,
Yeah.
why is this house in such neglect?
But it is funny. Also, that day that Janet stays home from school sick and everybody's gone, she's at home sick on a couch watching TV, and the channel keeps changing on her, and I was laughing so hard. I'm like, these ghosts are always so sassy. This one is literally like, I don't want to watch your stupid Christmas movies. I want to watch the Queen and the Parliament and the news. And you know what? I also want the remote to myself, so I'm gonna move it over here to my chair. Like, it
My
was
house.
just it was such a funny sequence. And then yeah, it ends with this big jump scare moment that is actually hilarious because it's just this old man going, "My house, my house,
So
Bathsheba."
yeah, Bathsheba. So after the climax of the movie, the Hodgsons' home returns to peace, and Ed brings home the haunted Crooked Man strobe toy to add to their artifact room. Again, I'm not too sure why it wasn't Bill's chair.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just the crooked man thing was the creepiest thing in that kid's house. So they were
True,
like,
true.
this is probably the haunted item, let's be honest.
Lorraine eventually reflects on how love and faith overcame fear, which is a common theme through these movies. The Warrens eventually leave Enfield behind and solidify their legacy with one of their most famous cases, which, just to give a little tidbit and a little sneak peek of what's coming in the season, when we talk about the actual Enfield poltergeist, you'll see that Ed and Lorraine Warren didn't actually have too much to do with this case, which I just think is so funny. From there, we're going to end up talking about just our general thoughts of the movie, some notes we wrote down during it. We just wanted to lay down the summary of the plot so we all have a kind of basis of where we're at, just in case you haven't seen the movie in a little bit. But
Yeah,
again, I think we both took down some notes. Let me get on my phone.
for sure.
I know you've already
So
talked
we
about
talked
some.
about some. One of my first notes was don't fuck with Ouija boards, kids.
Yeah. Which, unfortunately, we might be fucking with some Ouija boards coming up in the future.
It's an occupational hazard.
Yeah.
Another note I made was, of course, just the classic, my house.
Yeah. One of the things I brought up during that was with the screaming. Let me get it pulled up here. Now you may have a biscuit. Biscuit?
Yeah, they randomly would just scream, biscuits.
Just kidding, biscuits, bro. This mom stopped smoking so this kid could have biscuits, which again, like I pointed out in the first movie, I can never be a parent because fuck that. No, kid, you're not going to get no biscuits.
Mama needs a smokes.
Yeah, exactly. Especially like they're living a stressful life,
Yeah.
clearly.
That's funny. I will say I also wrote down mom for the win. The second haunting things started happening. She got them all the fuck out of that house.
Oh, yeah. Once she sees something.
The second something happens that she witnesses, she's like, all right, we're all going to the neighbors and we're staying there tonight and I'm calling for help.
Yep.
So it's like, good job, mom. And then right after that, it flashes back to the Warrens' life. And Ed is painting. And Lorraine comes over and she's like, oh, you're up early. What you doing? He's like, I couldn't sleep last night, so I'm just painting to relax and to get out of my head a little bit. And then it pans over and shows you his painting. And it's of the demon nun. And it's like a scary fucking nightmare piece of art. And I started laughing so hard. I was like, so Ed's painting to relax and get out of his head is, to me, watching horror films and true crime to relax and get out of my head.
Yes, I understand now.
It's like, okay, I get it.
I can relate. It is funny. It is like this creepy ass fucking picture of the nun.
Yeah, and it's not that you wouldn't expect something like that from Ed, but it's like the way he words that interaction first. He's like, yeah, I just couldn't sleep, so I'm just painting to relax, get out of my head a little bit. And it's like, what the fuck? That's what you paint to relax? So that was funny. I also love the twist that later with that painting, Lorraine is in that room looking at the painting and they pull the classic, the demon crawls out of the painting move, but they do it with a twist. So instead of him crawling out of the painting, he actually crawls out of the wall behind the painting and then grabs the painting and holds it up like a mask and then just runs at Lorraine. And it was like, ooh, that was actually kind of freaky.
I saw too in Halloween Horror Nights, they have a Conjuring Experience, or it might have been the one they had at the Kings Island and Cedar Point and some of the Cedar Fair park or Six Flags parks this year. But that was one of the experiences where they had like a painting on the wall and all the walls were like slats. So you couldn't really tell which ones would open and which ones would close.
Oh, that's cool.
And so, yeah, he eventually comes running out and takes the painting. It looks really good.
Dope. I also wrote down during the part where they're trying to do that little like seance-y like interview with Bill, the ghost, through Janet. They're like, who are you? They don't know who he is yet. He hasn't identified himself. So they're like, oh, who are you? And his answer is, this is my house. And they're like, no, it's not. Tell us who you are. And he laughs and he goes, knock.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, fine. I'll play along. Who's there? Like,
Bill.
It's such a silly interaction.
And then later on, Ed is like, do you know who you're talking to? And he goes, Ed. Eddie. Edward.
Well, yeah, it's even funnier. He goes, Ed. Eddie. Edward. And then Ed goes, Ed is fine. And a little before that, when they've gotten the tape of the introduction of who Bill is through Janet, and that tape is being played for the Warrens for the first time, that they haven't shown up to the Hodgsons yet. And the priest or whoever is playing this tape for the Warrens, and he's like, all right, so what do you think? And Ed goes, that man sounds confused. Is he senile? And they're like, that is the voice of an 11-year-old girl who is possessed.
I just imagine it zooms back to Ed.
Like, yeah, he's like, oh, my apologies. And then, of course, while she's possessed at one of these points and speaking as Bill, pulls the classic demon move that I mentioned last time where he yells at mom, "Shut up, you old fat cow." Like
Yeah, they're all just offensive.
they're
They
all
just yell
they yell
obscenities.
obscenities at their mothers and then they puke on people.
Yep.
And like that's why is this all demons MOs?
Sorry, this might be a trigger warning if you don't like poop, but I'm surprised they're just not shitting everywhere too. I mean, why not?
Yeah, apparently. I mean, they like vomit so
Yeah,
much.
like
You'd
why?
think, what's the difference?
Or God forbid, if you have any kids listening, definitely cover their ears. Like, why aren't they fucking like jizzing everywhere?
Oh my
I mean,
god.
that would be horrifying if I was a
Yeah.
priest walking in and there was a demon like up on a bed just fucking going at it, and then it's like, ha ha!
So, what's worse than blood and vomit? Demon jizz.
Yeah, dude, I'd say so. One thing,
What's worse, the demons or their jizz?
the jizz.
At one point in the film, the Warrens sit down with the Hodgsons and we're like, all right, we need to use the power of family and love and standing up for one another to protect against this bully of a demon. And they're like having this little bonding time and they start singing together. And first note is, damn, not a bad Elvis, Ed.
Oh yeah, Patrick Wilson does a very good.
Oh yeah, and that's really Patrick Wilson doing
Yeah,
it. That's
yes.
awesome. But then he's like, "All right, everybody now, last verse together, y'all." Like whatever, and they start singing, and Christian goes, "Man, it's like the family Von Trapp," and I go, "More like family Von fucked."
Yeah, it just gave a very Sound of Music moment. One thing I wanted to bring up was we kind of mentioned it earlier, but this movie felt very similar to the first one in its characters, in its pacing, in its structure. Honestly, the way that a lot of the scares came to fruition, I
Yeah,
feel
a
like it was
lot of
all
the
very similar.
haunting elements themselves.
Oh, my poor little wire was all fucked up. It's okay. Those listening with your ears only, you won't notice.
At one point, when they're doing their investigation and they're setting up all their video equipment like normal, the little video guy hands Ed, he's like, all right, this is brand new, baby. Hands him this big wireless camera, right? And it's like the 70s. So it's massive and it takes up his whole shoulder and arm and he has to hold it with both hands, like up like this. And he picks it up and he goes, wow, it's so small and light. Just
I do love that.
100% serious. And it's like that was a good little piece of comedy because you know this is a modern movie and they're like making a little joke about how yeah, remember that's what they really thought back then when that camera came out and now could you imagine having to video with something that big? Like
Oh my god! I mean, the
we
camera we're
complain
recording
yeah.
this on is like the size of 2 iPhones.
Yeah, we complain about how heavy our equipment is now on wedding days. Imagine if it was a whole ass TV box
Oh my
on your
god,
arm.
no, dude, I could not do that.
But it's so small and light.
Yeah, it's so small and light. Wow, I did love that. This movie does
Yeah.
have some good like comedic breaks throughout it that I think do a good job of splitting the tension.
Yeah, another one of those random comedic moments. It was more of like a wholesome moment than straight up comedic, but I thought it was funny is Ed is talking to the little girl and trying to give her some comfort, but he tells this story about how he's like basically the way I yelled at demons as a kid is I would show him my crucifix and I'd be like, you better leave or God's gonna kick your butt. And I'm like, that's really funny.
To
I'm
imagine
gonna
a little kid,
yeah, I was like, I'm gonna use that against people who are mean to me.
you better start carrying a crucifix.
If people start being mean or rude to me, I'm just gonna be like, you better knock it off, or God's gonna kick your butt. And they're gonna be like, what? I wanna see people's reaction to that threat.
If I offended somebody and they were like, you better apologize, and pulled out a cross, held it to me, and was like, or God's gonna come for you, I would be horrified. I'd apologize. I don't even believe in that stuff that much.
But if they held it out to you like you are a demon.
I'd be like, oh my God.
Yeah. When Lorraine is getting visited by the nun premonition at one point, and she's oh no, it's not the nun. It's when she finally makes contact with the real Bill ghost, and they kind of make the connection of that what's been going on and that he's been used as a pawn by the nun. She asks him, she's like, "What do we do? How can I help you? How can I save this family? Like, how do we just stop the demon?" And then he just serves her up some riddles like he's a bridge troll.
Yeah, it
Like,
is like a legitimate riddle. And she's like, I don't understand.
she's like, "What does that mean?" And then that's that. Like, he
That
just,
Jennifer Lawrence meme.
"What do you mean?"
I'm
Oh
dead
my God.
now. Jedi fades.
Yeah. Oh, another funny moment. I think I wrote it down. Whatever. It was before the family Von Trapp singing moment. Peggy, the mom, was complaining just like passively about how like, yeah, my ex-husband this and that. And she's like, he took all the music with him the day he left. And Ed goes, I know sometimes it can feel like that when we lose a love. And she's like, no, I mean literally. He took all the records with him when he left. We
No,
can't play music for the kids anymore.
I mean literally, Ed. He's a fucking dick.
I was like, that was a hilarious little joke. Like,
He took all the
he
records.
took all the music with him. I know it feels like that when we get divorced. No, he took all the music with him. It's quiet now, and the kids sing stupid Crooked Man songs to themselves.
That's why Ed gets out the guitar and plays some Elvis. The
Exactly.
kids get learned, you know?
He's like, oh, your daddy took all your music? All right, I guess I'll sing you a song.
One of the other things I wanted to mention too is I just thought that The Nun was the first time I saw this, I know this was kind of a rewatch for me, but the first time I saw this, I thought it was a very interesting and refreshing like take on a demon for one of these movies. You usually get like the horned kind of creature or the shadow being, but the fact that it was just like a nun, I feel like stuck with a lot of people, and that's why it ended up getting a sequel, and that's
Yeah.
why it was just such a big scary icon essentially.
It is almost the exact opposite of what you'd expect a demon to look like.
Yeah.
You don't expect a demon to take the shape of a nun or a priest or a pastor or the pope or something. So when a demon does show up as a nun, yeah, it was like, oh, that was clever. That
Yeah.
was different. Because, yeah, like you said, a lot of times they're just kind of classic devil like beings or like shadow monsters or boogeyman type monsters. This one was literally a person of religion. Like,
Yeah.
and that is almost scarier than a devil monster because you expect demonhood out of a devil monster. You expect protection and holiness from a
From
nun.
a nun, yeah. You'd hope at least.
Yeah. Also, this is like low key a Christmas movie.
Yeah, you can watch this on Christmas. It happens during the holidays.
It happens
So
during the holidays. They play Christmas music throughout it. They, at one point, I think they're literally like wrapping presents underneath the Christmas tree in the living room, like kind of a Christmas film. So watch out, Die Hard, because there's another new surprise on the list of Hallmark must watches. All
what do you
right.
watch on Christmas? First Die Hard, then Conjuring 2.
Yeah,
Not the first one, because that didn't take place during Christmas.
that one's not a Christmas movie, but this
But-
one is
the second one.
the Christmas movie.
So from there, I think I'm going to move on to fun facts, unless you had anything else you wanted to talk about. I just had a few here from the movie. The real Janet and Margaret Hodgson visited the set, just like some of the parents did in the original one. The two sisters who lived through the haunting actually visited the set in London. They met Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson, and both later said that the film captured the feeling of what happened better than any other adaptation of their story. Which again is fairly interesting, seeing as how the Warrens didn't have that much to do with the actual case, but they didn't say it captured the actual story. They said it captured the feeling.
They didn't say it captured the events or what happened better. They said they captured the feeling of what it felt like when all that was happening.
Yeah, so I can see
So-
that. That would make more sense.
Yeah, and that would make more sense of why they're being consulted on set in the first place, is that it's more to give the actors something to work with.
Yeah,
Where,
like this
"Ha,
is what I felt in
this
this
is
moment.
what I felt like, and this is like I remember crying or screaming, or I remember feeling like I wanted to scream but I couldn't even breathe or move." And Like, it's those types of conversations that then help the actor to do such a good job and make it so believable and do that kind of justice. Because, like, if
Yeah.
you don't have those consults, it's not that they can't do a good job and have their own imagination and direction, but I'm sure that that's part of the reason why the real life people end up being part of these filmmaking processes, is that the director wants those actors to get as informed from the real people as possible. Not about the events, but about what their performance is gonna look like.
Yeah. And I think it just is, honestly, it's good PR to be like, haha, the original ones visited set.
It's true.
This
Look,
is what they had to say about it.
the real people were here and they said it was great. And so now you can't yell at us for saying it was based on a true story.
Yeah, exactly.
The
So
true people agree.
I think there's a little bit of both there.
Yeah, marketing for sure. Everything's marketing.
Well, 100%. I mean, like I said, it's impossible to get these movies made. So once you do get them made, the studios expect a huge return on budget. So
Yeah, I'm waiting for the Crooked Man spinoffs.
return on investment, not return on budget. I don't think they're happening anymore.
It should. I mean, why not? They're obviously still going. They just did the fourth Conjuring.
I mean, maybe they will now that they're out of like the main Conjuring staple.
Yeah.
But I heard
I'm
through the
like, they had the
grapevine that
nuns, the Annabelles, La Llorona's not that old.
yeah.
The new Conjuring just came out this year. So, like, hey,
I mean, I wouldn't never say never, but from what I've heard through the grapevine is that it's kind of in development hell. So I don't think too much is being moved there.
I mean, I guess I don't know any lore behind what this Crooked Man is.
They don't either. That's the thing.
Other than that, it's a creepy music box they had in this movie that was like, ooh, that boogeyman could have been his own thing.
No, they don't either. And I'll tell you, this next fun fact clearly states that a lot of this, while it seems in retrospective, like looking back on the movie, it's like, wow, that was really all perfectly planned. You can kind of see that they did not have this all fully planned. They were building upon what they've already laid.
Yeah.
So the next fun fact is that Valak was actually a late addition. Believe it or not, the terrifying demon nun wasn't in the original script. Director James Wan added during post-production reshoots after the feeling that the film needed a stronger and more memorable villain. The new scenes were shot months after principal photography, and the addition worked so well that it spun off The Nun 2018 and its sequel.
Oh my gosh. So it originally really was just Bill, Bill,
Well,
Bill.
From what I read, there was a demon that they did have intended for it, but I don't think it necessarily had all this big lore. It might have had some of the ties to Lorraine, but they didn't
Okay.
necessarily have it all stable with this nun creature
Yeah.
and this whole concrete background. And it's crazy to think that any of those nun scenes is post production. Like that happened after they were all like the principal shooting was done. Everyone was told we're good, go home.
I guess some of it makes sense because they rarely show the nun with anybody else in frame at the same time.
Well, where you couldn't at least CGI
But,
them in. Like if it
yeah.
was another demon that they had in place for it, you could easily probably just
Exactly.
reskin whatever the hell you had.
And I will say I don't think that they necessarily ever say or acknowledge out loud that it's a nun. Until the very end when Lorraine says you drew it, it's the nun in your
Yes,
painting.
I think the Lorraine and Ed probably acknowledge it, but you got to think for reshoots, the two easiest people to probably bring back would just be
Those two.
Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson.
And that was that
and do these
last
simple
scene where
scenes,
she
yeah.
calls out the demon and condemns him back to
Yeah.
hell.
So you can see it when you rewatch the movie. I knew that before going in, so I was trying to look for it. You can see little bits of it, but I think that's just pretty cool that idea just sprung out of essentially nowhere and then
Yeah.
took
No, that's
so much of a run.
That's also just crazy to think about that, like, that was a post-production decision, let alone development.
Yeah.
And it's like, what if that hadn't happened? Then would these movies be successful?
You wouldn't
Nuns,
have the nuns,
probably.
no.
Like, there's all this other stuff. It's like, whoa,
Yeah.
that one little change that happened at the last second, almost after the fact, really changed everything.
And that, again, that highlights what I always say. And not that this podcast is supposed to be about that. We're just reviewing fun horror movies on date night. But these things are impossible to make. And even from the first rendition of a script to when you get to, okay, this movie is being released, you don't know what. Once you get 5,000 grubby little hands touching that story, what you're going to end up with at
Yeah.
the end of it.
And we're not just talking about grubby little writer hands. We're talking about investors,
We're talking about investors, the director. I
producers,
mean, even when you write a script,
yeah.
thankfully with The Conjuring, you have James Wan who does the directing and writing. You get lucked out in situations like this when you get
But
up there. But
yeah, on most films, you have so many people who get at least try to have a say, even if one person at the end of the day can have the ultimate yes or no. Actors will try to rework or add their own lines, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. Directors might want to change things. Writers get in the room, they add on new writers and co-writers, and now they have to come to an agreement on something they don't agree on, and then so like there's a lot at play where you're right. You can have this original script that gets sold to a movie studio, and then the movie that actually comes out in theaters is so different, it's almost unrecognizably
yeah,
the same script.
I've never written anything really worth a damn. And by that, I mean, like, I've never done it commercially or for a profit or anything like that. But I've written few screenplays and a few things in that atmosphere of a movie or a TV show, or even, I mean, you saw our trailer, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because of that, I've been on some subreddits for screenplay writers, and I've seen it happen in there where they're like, hey, I sold my script on, I think it's called like Black Box or whatever. It's a website where you just go and list your scripts, and then agents can find it and buy it if they want it.
Okay. I mean, that's
Um,
pretty cool.
yes and no.
I like
It's
it.
essentially like the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
Like, you sell it for, like, I'm pretty sure like a few $1,000s, if that,
That's
even
what
maybe like a few
happened.
hundred.
Yeah, that's what happened with the Paranormal Activity script,
Pretty much,
basically.
yes,
Where
yeah.
like, yeah, that got sold for like
10 grand,
$1,000 or 10
but
grand,
made
and made billions and spun off like 8
yes,
movies.
yes. That's essentially like where it is. That's where a lot of, I'm not talking shit on anybody, but that's where a lot of screenplay writers make a lot of their money, is because you have so many studios that they buy these scripts without even the intention of making it. They're like, I don't want somebody else to have this. $200, drop it, I'll buy it. We'll keep it shelved, and if we need anything in a last minute decision, we'll pull it out.
Yeah.
That's how a lot of screenplay writers get their money. So
It's
on
not
this,
even about we wanna make this film. It's like we want the rights to
to
this
this,
in case.
just in case, yeah, I don't want somebody else to buy this and it'd be a better idea.
Yeah, I don't want someone else to do it better than I could potentially do it, so I'm gonna hold on to it, and, like, if I get around to it, I get around to it.
Yeah, if not, whatever. I'm out
If
200
not,
bucks.
at least nobody else could
Yeah,
have it.
yep, nobody else stole my profit. But where the story is leading is on that subreddit. I've seen stories of people who sell their scripts. And the one I was reading is, he's like, I sold a script that I poured my heart into, and I sold it for good money. I think he sold it for around like 20 grand or something like that. So he had a high hope. He was like, oh, I was thinking it was going to get made into a movie production. They usually don't spend that kind of money unless they're going to take it. It did get made into a movie production 5 years later. Nobody ever told him until he saw it and saw like the script credits or whatever in the end that it was like, credit goes to blah, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah,
it's
blah,
like
blah, blah.
based on the script by this person.
And this feature film had changed from basically like a friend drama about like drug abuse and struggling and overcoming like grief and this whole like very sad kind of indie tale. And it became a buddy like cop movie, I think, by the end of it.
So they took Rent and they turned it into
Like Chips.
Like Chips.
Like the new Chips.
Yeah, see, that's rough, buddy.
Yeah, that's stuff like that be happening. So it is cool to see that transition in post-production.
Oh yeah.
Another little fun fact to talk about, because our camera looks like it's getting ready to die, so we'll wrap up here, is it was Patrick Wilson singing.
Yeah, he did pretty well.
Yeah.
He not only was he a good singer, but I'm like, he's got a pretty decent Elvis
Yeah, he
impression
nails
going on. Like, not
Also-
only his singing voice, but his little "thank you very much" and
Yeah.
"come on, everybody." Like, I don't have a good Elvis, but but his was
Also,
good.
He had legendary sideburns again. I
Oh,
had that in my
always.
notes.
And legendary reflexes. Like,
Yeah,
once
dude,
again,
he's
he
Spider-Man.
saves like 8 people from flying chairs.
Yeah, he is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So from there, then I'll give it my rating, which I have a simple explanation for. I think I'm going, honestly, a 6.5. And I know I gave the first one an 8. And the reason I'm giving this one a 6.5 is my rating is a 5 would be, that's a good movie. Like, and a 5 is an average movie. That movie has passed that is average. So 6.5 is an above average movie. I think this is an above average horror movie. following The Conjuring, though, you see where they're getting like it's almost like a repeat to me. It just felt so similar.
It's a little too repetitive, and yeah, like it's got the same stuff going on, a little bit of slower moving moments, I think. Some of the things about this movie I think were more scary, but overall I do think that the first Conjuring's a little bit better. So I think if I gave the first one an 8, I'd probably say this one's a 7.
7.
Yeah.
I'm cool with a 7. We'll end on a
Just an
7.
even number.
Even odd 7. So there you go. Conjuring 2, we're giving a 7 out of 10 compared to the 8 out of 10 we gave the first one.
Yeah. Still not bad, above average.
Yeah, recommend it.
Yeah.
Great movie. Great date night movie too, honestly.
Yeah,
I
with
think it's
Christmas coming up,
yeah.
it's perfect for the holidays.
What are we watching? Home Alone and then
And then The Conjuring. That's funny. I made a Home Alone reference too, because at one point the little boy's like, "This is our house. We have to defend it." And I'm like, "Oh my God, Kevin!" Like,
Thank you guys so much for joining us, and be sure to come back every other week for a brand new episode of Movie Night until season 2 comes January 2nd, 2026.
we hope you all enjoyed tonight's episode, and don't forget you can reach out to us with love letters, episode ideas, movie suggestions, and even merch ideas, what have you. Our email is mysterydatepodcast@gmail.com. Our website is mysterydatepodcast.com. You could leave a voice message on there if you want. And don't forget to follow us on social media while you're at it at Mystery Date Podcast everywhere.
There we go. There's all of our little plugs there. But one more, head to mysteryandco.com as well if you want to support the show. Buy any of our exclusive merch. We have a Black Friday and launch sale going on, as well as some goodies that I think a lot of holiday lovers who love cryptids and kind of just gothic inspired art would really appreciate. So check that out for sure. And be sure to share this with your friends or even your enemies. Every little share that you guys give this show helps a lot, and we appreciate it. We can't thank you enough. That's all. So be safe and have a great rest of your day or night.
And remember, every movie deserves a date.
Just maybe not a second one.